takes, that's you. 3 takes, not me. 2 takes if you lucky. First take, stop me. 4 takes, that's you. 3 takes, not me. 2 takes if you lucky. First take, they got me.
Hey guys, welcome back. Cobb, welcome back to the show, dude. We know you took some time off to yourself with some personal reasons. We're not going to get into it, although we did kind of talk about it on the show last week. We hope you're doing well. We saw you lost again this weekend, so we hope you're doing well, buddy. Alex, welcome back, buddy. I know there was a little tension with us this week, the TextGate scandal, so we can get into that a little bit. But yes, how's everyone doing?
I'm doing good, man. Again, I missed one episode and all like hell breaks loose. I don't really know what happened, letting you guys control the fort. But no, I'm happy to be back. I had to clear the air because there were some things I didn't agree with on last week's episode. And it seemed like, we were taking a little bit of a turn, turning into a little bit of a TMZ show going on this past week. But I want to find out how you guys are doing. Alex almost resigned from the show. I mean, that's got to be the news of the week. I think, we just got to get back on track, guys.
I agree. I say let bygones be bygones, but Alex, you willing to let all that set all that aside?
Yeah, I mean, it was a high emotional week, especially for my team. I mean, I know all three of us, it was a weird week where I think all three of us, the first time maybe in league history that all three of us are coming off, or show history that all three of us are coming off a loss. Yeah. But, everything's looking good. The standings are looking good still. The future is looking bright. It was a weird week. There was the TextGate. My team was getting insulted. I was coming off an emotional loss where I had two of kind of my main guys I just traded for CH and Russell, and obviously Russell Wilson, my main QB, both going on IR this week. So you don't love to see that. You hate to see that, actually. And so, between those losses and there's, some talks about my team and, there is a lot going on. And, the last thing that I want to do is distract my own franchise with, giving it media attention. And, sometimes you just got to put your foot in the dirt and you just got to get to work. And so, the future, my future at the Cobb and Dash show, I was putting all my marbles on my own team. And, it was a business decision and we were at the point where we were going to have to step away. But, luckily Ruben stepped in and helped moderate some discussions. And, the future's looking bright. I'm back, hopefully just getting back to a regular routine and resetting with my team, and we're looking good and we're looking to get a win this week.
Yeah, I think that's right there. We'll get back to it, let bygones be bygones. Everything that was said last week's in the past. What happens in the Cobb and Dash show stays in the Cobb and Dash show. And I think that was last week's episode. And that's it. All right. So I'm willing to forget. All right. A lot of stuff happened this week. I was involved in a trade, getting a 4th round pick, which now that it's done, I can make fun of him for doing that. Why the fuck would you trade a 4th round pick for Kadarius Toney? Even though Hodge did text me saying it was too early for me to be doing that. Sterling Shepard's back. Slayton's coming back. Kadarius Toney's going to go back to being a number 4, maybe. We'll see. I thought I was a highway robbery. I know I was texting you guys as the negotiations were going on. Were you surprised that he went from an 8th round pick to a 4th round pick in the span of 5 minutes?
I mean, we were texting throughout, and I think every 5 minutes the round kept getting better and better for you, and that just kind of shows kind of some of the art of the deal you have with trading. You attack specific fans. Paul's a big Giants fan. Kadarius Toney, like if he was on my team, if he was on the Patriots, I probably would have been just as excited. Not 4th round pick excited. But, he didn't have any fab to blow because of Eli Mitchell week 1, who he traded in this deal as well. But yeah, no, I think it was kind of an overpay on Paul's part. Even if Kadarius Toney blows up, I think he could have gotten him for a little less than a 4th. But yeah, I mean, good job on your part.
Alex, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I actually have a lot of thoughts, not necessarily about this trade, but what this move from Paul's team, looks like. Unless, and we were discussing this, over text, but unless Toney hits, and when I say hit, I mean like talking about him being a potential second rounder in like a redraft next year, someone like a Justin Jefferson from last year, unless he produces like that the rest of the season. And, obviously we have Darius Slayton coming back. We have Sterling Shepard coming back. So, it's a question mark on what his role is going to be in this offense. And, frankly, I don't think he's going to produce like that. And so putting all those eggs in the basket, to me, screams like a move of desperation. You look at his team, he doesn't have a wide receiver one at all. He doesn't have a good quarterback, but he's got, 4 amazing running backs who obviously we know Saquon Barkley's out now for, who knows, 3-4 plus weeks. And he's sitting at 1-4 right now. And I don't know. I mean, to make the playoffs, I was talking about this with someone in my other league. The minimum is 7-7 now with the extra season, or with the extra game added on. 8-6 locks you in. 7-7, I would say probably the 6th and the 7th seed are probably going to be 7-7, and whoever has a lower record probably, or the lower points scored, isn't going to get in. And so you're talking about him going. He's going to need to go I think it's 6-2 the rest of the season, or 6-3. I think 6-3 the rest of the season to do that. And so now he's down Saquon for a stretch of games that he needs to win. And so this is a desperate move for him, banking that, Tony can come in and keep that production up. I really don't think, I think it's going to backfire on him, but we'll see. Paul's pinned up against the wall, so I think that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah. And another thing to it, it also kind of signals that he might be, if you're like, put it this way, if I'm trading a 4th round pick, I'm like, there's chances of me banking on this guy being a badass, but also that I might keep him. Right. I mean, and I would think he would be doing that with Henry and Jonathan Taylor. And obviously he's traded a lot for Saquon Barkley last year or so. It seems like he might keep Kadarius Toney based on a trade a 4th. I mean, that's what I would think. I'm not trading a 4th if I'm not keeping a guy.
Yeah. And
weird.
I would also like to add in that Nick Chubb also just got ruled out for this week's game. And so he's down 2 of his heavy hitters. And so we'll get into that later, but not looking good.
He's in trouble.
Yeah.
Then other trade, you fixed your quarterback situation. I wouldn't say you fixed it, but maybe put like some Neosporin on it. Kind of talk to us about the trade that really kept the Cobb and Dash show together.
Yeah, I mean, aside from the way that Ruben came in and helped mend the issues of the Cobb and Dash show, strictly looking for my team. Here's the way that I see it. Do I think Derek Carr is Russell Wilson? No, I don't think he is. But I'm starting to see my team playing fairly consistently. If my opponent is going to drop over 150, I'm probably not going to win. The state of which my team is right now, it's a consistent floor of points. You're talking like around 120, on a good week in the 140s right now at the state which my team's out, being down CEH and being down Russell Wilson. So having a guy like Carr does 2 things for my team. It's a safe floor guy. Obviously the first 3 weeks he blew up, close to 40 points, and that's not sustainable. I think Carr, you're going to consistently see him being kind of in the 20s, between 20 and 30 points. And that's really all I need. I'm losing that boom factor from Russell Wilson, but I think it gives me a consistent guy throughout the next 4 games. That they're saying that they're going to try to push him to be back by week 10. So it's 4 missed games from Russell Wilson. So 1, I think Carr provides a safe floor. 2, I have Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow on my team. Stack. And so if anything, it's more of a gimmick than anything. We're not talking about the Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Kelsey stack. It's more of a gimmick stack. But, sometimes when you're in a situation like this, some type of gimmick move is kind of what you need. Realistically, out of these 4 games, and they're saying CH maybe will be back that 5th week too. So if CH and Russell Wilson both come back, let's say week 10, that's 4 games that I need to be able to, compete in. I'm in a good position right now at 4-1. If I can even go 2-2, that would put me at 6-3. And 6-3 with everyone coming back for the last 4 games of the season puts me in a position to still make a push for the bye week. And so, I'm feeling good. This is probably one of my toughest matchups this week in that 4-game stretch against Hotch. And, thankfully for me, he had 2 players didn't perform that well last night, between Brady and his kicker. We'll get into that later. So I'm looking to squeeze out a win, and, I'm feeling good. It's, the direction my team needs to be in right now. And, we're just trying to fight and win games.
Yeah. For me, I'll just be quick with this one. I got an opportunity to get Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon won't be a fact. I think Josh Gordon's going to be a factor once it gets into fantasy playoff time. Like, mark my words. I genuinely believe that. Not that it's a Quint stack. Talk about gimmicks. The Quint stack, that's a gimmick. I don't know if it's going to be a Quint stack. Darrell Williams may not have that role. Who knows if he excels in that position. But I think Josh Gordon could be last flex potential, getting 10 or 12 points. I'm just saying. That's why I did it, and I was happy to give off Alex Collins to give him a handcuff to a guy who needed a handcuff. Cobb, thoughts on the trade?
I think it was a solid trade overall. I think I had brought up my concern that Ruben didn't know that Kirk Cousins shares a bye week with Josh Allen, because in hindsight, it would have been a good stack to have. You lose one stack for a week when they have a bye. You have that stack with Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, but they're both on the bye at the same time. I asked Ruben, he said he had no idea that they had the same bye week. Hate to see that, but I think it was still worth it in his end to get that handcuff. We just saw Chris Carson's ruled out. So it seems like this is just a long-term injury he's going to have to deal with. So getting that handcuff was worth it regardless. He didn't really lose much anyways. No, I think I think everyone got what they wanted, and we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I think it was one of those sneaky moves, because I think in a couple of weeks we'll be like, oh shit, that trade actually did work out. Whether Carson's out for a long time, Alex Collins is the main guy, or whether Gordon steps up and actually plays like Josh Gordon that we know from 8 years ago. So who knows? And Derek Carr just is a good solid game manager for you until Russell Wilson gets back, and I think that's all you want, a game manager. Yep. All right, so we're going to go to last week's preview. In order to get this show moving, we're just going to go one person for each preview, recap. Let's try to get the recaps fast, and then we'll all sound off on the previews. So first one, Alex, since you are the number one, we're going to have Cobb do the recap on Big Berry Sales versus ZT's fantasy team. Probably the upset of the weekend.
Anyone who was going against the Ravens players going into Monday night probably lost. Lamar went off, Mark Andrews went off, Marquise Brown went off. So, it's tough to beat. Lamar Jackson almost got a 60. When you coming off the week when Russ gets hurt and only gets an 11, you're not going to make that up, which is unfortunate. We just talked about Alex. He's in a good position now, 4-1, can recover. ZT's hitting his stride a little bit. We'll see if he'll be able to keep it going. He has Zach Ertz, got him a 1, but with news today, Zach Ertz going to the Cardinals could be a pretty good tight end for him until Kelsey gets back, or not Kelsey, Kittle.
He's off his team. He cut him.
Oh shit! Wow.
Yeah, Barry picked him up.
Come on.
Yeah, I told him not to do it.
Wow, hate to see it. Well, then never mind on that point. But yeah, it's just a great week for ZT. Alex still scored 125 with his quarterback going down and CEH going down. So that's, there's a positive there and a loss. I think, ZT's he's in 8th right now, but I know he's kind of bringing down the next of the, the middle of the pack is getting really, really, really cluttered with some really good teams. And, I'm one of those people right in the borderline of a playoff spot right now. So I'm trying to get out of that place. We'll get into that with this week preview, but yeah, unfortunate week for Alex. Injuries happen. Hopefully we'll be able to bounce back. And then ZT's just he's got to keep riding Lamar. And as long as he keeps doing it, he'll turn up. Yeah,
totally agree. Alex, let's talk about the second place team. Surprising second place team. Nobody had this guy in the top 4 or top 5 going into the season, to be quite honest. He's been pretty much irrelevant for the last few years, but now he's back and seems like he might be here to stay. Talk to us about Mr. MIA versus Colonel Sanders.
Well, so yeah, this matchup, in the last week's preview, we had talked about Adam's team being really, really rough, and this was a favorable matchup for CP, and so far he's had a pretty easy strength of schedule, and I think that's important, for a team like him, a franchise like him, especially with a guy like CMC, who's been, obviously out the last, 2-3 weeks. And he just, unfortunately, I know he was hoping he would play in week 6, precautionarily just got ruled out again for this upcoming week. But he's sitting at 4-1. And I will tell you what, I know if you look at his past games, he hasn't really blown up, but his team's been fairly consistent. His team's sneaky. I don't think it's one of the best, top 2-3 teams in the league, but I think his team's a lot sneakier than a lot of people think. When McCaffrey first got into the league, a lot of people, he's a sneaky athletic guy. Adam Thielen, sneaky athletic. CP's team is a sneaky athletic team here. He actually has a good amount of talent. You look at that starting roster, it's not bad. And you factor in that, he's going to have CMC hopefully back, next week into the matchup. And Calvin Ridley, he's on a bye this week. And obviously, he was ruled out for personal reasons, didn't travel to London. Calvin Ridley's going to be back in that lineup. Jarvis Landry is getting pulled off IR this upcoming week. I mean, his team is going to hit its stride, coming forward. He's in a good position where he's sitting at 4-1, and potentially the best is yet to come. Maybe not the best schedules. His schedule's going to get tougher, but his team should be hitting its stride, which is a great news for him. And he might, because of the position he's in, we're almost halfway through the season. He can squeak out a couple more wins with a decent roster. He's someone that I really think is gonna. I don't think he'll stay at the 2 seed, but I think just based off the position he's in at 4-1, this is someone that I can see definitely making the playoffs.
Yeah, I think if he wins one more, I think we can write him in as a 6, at least a 6 spot. I don't think his team's good, but he's 4-1, and no one's scoring shit against him for some weird reason. My team scored 99 against him. Okay. Cobb, talk to us about my game. We talked about Alex being upset of the weekend. I was also one of their up there as well as another upset. Fuck Alex Collins, but talk to us about Chasing Canton upsetting me.
I mean, it's kind of ironic. I think this has kind of been maybe a one-sided rivalry, just of Dash Dog and Roden. Any chance he gets.
I like his team this year, actually. So
you did, and I think it's it kind of proves your case. He beat you this week or last week. But I don't know if there's really much to see here going forward. I mean, Antonio Brown. I was pretty big on him going the season. I was kind of mad that I didn't get him anywhere, and he got him in the trade with, I think it was from Paul, right? Yeah. And he went off last week, and he already went off this week, and he got 13 targets, 21 points. I mean, he's looking like that's a strong receiver there for Roden. His QB plays still Burrow's good, but he's not throwing nearly as much as you would have hoped coming into the season. So I don't really know how often he's going to win you weeks, I guess. Godwin seems like he's playing third fiddle in Tampa Bay. Mike Evans is getting all the touchdowns. Antonio Brown is getting the possessions and all the deep shots. Kareem Hunt has been, again, one of the most underrated stars in fantasy for the last few years. And now Chubb's out this week. He did we'll get to this week stuff, but overall solid performance, even with Mike Williams getting him in a 1. Lockett probably could have a better game. I think there's a few deep shots that Russ missed connection on him. And then, Russ is done there, but it's just, I think it's one of those fluke weeks that Roden got a win here, and that your stack really didn't do what it needed to do. Everyone did okay, but it wasn't anything spectacular. And like you said, if Alex Collins gets 1 touchdown, you win this matchup probably. So it's got to be rough, but better days ahead for you. I mean, you got a tough matchup this week. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, the thing that sucks about this things about Alex Collins, but I didn't want to start him, but it was that thing. It was Thursday night. We were talking about the group message. I was like, I'm gonna start him, and I took out Josh Jacobs for him, and Josh Jacobs got a 16, and that's 8 points. I would have won by 2. So that shit happens all the time. Sucks though. So next matchup, I gotta talk about. Wait, who am I talking about? Yeah, we did the 3rd seed. Who's 4? Make Hosh great again. Okay. Wow, dude, I didn't realize you were that far down, Cobb. I'm not trying to dog you. I honestly thought it was gonna be your team.
Important sport, man.
Yeah, that's right. Hodge is actually tearing it up. So I got Hodge versus DK Dollar Bills, and Ruben scored a 158, but still lost. And that's rough, man. Anytime you score 150 and lose, it's bad luck. But yeah, it was the first time Josh Allen actually looked like Josh Allen. Still no stack though, because Diggs hasn't really looked like Diggs at all this year. So 48 between the two of them, but 24 if you split it up. But yeah, Brady. I think someone alluded to Brady scored 21 yesterday. It was a bad game for him, coming off of 54. I mean, they ran that score up in Miami. Like that, when you see that Buccaneers are doing that, it's like, dude, this is gonna be nice. And then Mark Andrews scoring a 36 on Monday night, huge game. I think I read somewhere that was one of the best fantasy games by a tight end ever. I think I saw some tweet about it that Mark Andrews' game on Monday was one of the best tight end fantasy games ever. I didn't know this. I didn't read the stats, but that's the guy scored 36, 11 catches for 147, and amazing. Especially on the heels of that, Hodge texted me the day before saying he regrets keeping Mark Andrews. So I thought that was funny. He came to perform for him. But yeah, we said it on the show. Hodge is a really good team, and it's a scary team. The fact that he's 3-2 after doing these dumb trades over the last 2 years, pretty much reshaping his entire team. The fact he has this good of a team, I think just like is an indicator for people to stop trading with this fucking guy. I'm tired of this. Like he's been game planning this, and his team, top to bottom, is one of the best teams in the league. What does bench look like? Okay, his bench is kind of rough. Okay, so this is all he's got. Allen Robinson's on his bench. If only Allen Robinson had a quarterback. But yeah, I think the winner of this one, I think Hodge had a good team, so Hodge could have afforded to lose this game. It sucks for Ruben because I really like Ruben's team, and he needs wins like this. Scoring 158, you need to scrape those wins out, and he didn't. But all in all, not much you can do. Hodge scored 191, like the third highest score of the year, behind me both times. So yeah. Kudos to Hodge. He's got a good team, and looking forward to seeing what he does the rest of the season. I hope he doesn't make the playoffs though. Next one, Alex, let's talk to us about. Oh yeah, there we go. Protect the Throne versus Kale Fraud.
Yeah, I mean, this, you take a look, and I know we've talked about this a lot on the show, and I know this wasn't necessarily the tail of the tape, but we talked about whoever wins the quarterback battle is typically going to be winning that matchup. Yeah. And obviously it wasn't a huge disparity. It's not like Aaron Rodgers had an incredible week, but when Kyler Murray, who was, obviously a keeper for Cobb, doesn't produce, it's hard to win those games. And then obviously you have, the GB stackers, you have, Devontae Adams, who, it's crazy. Devontae Adams had a 38, and Rodgers, usually when you see that, you would expect Rodgers to be close to 40. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that he was at 23 means that, he was, every single big play was to Devontae Adams, which actually was the case. If you were watching the game, that was the case. Now, obviously, Austin Eckler blew up for him. And, I think it was, Cobb didn't have a bad game. I know his quarterback didn't produce, but he overshot his projection by 1 point. And, putting up a score in the 140s is really all you can ask of your team, really. I mean, there's so many teams, that will win squeaking away with, victories in the 20s and whatnot, depending on matchups. If you're just consistently, in between 140 and 150, you're going to be an elite team that has a good record. And so it's tough to go up against someone that's dropping, 162, almost 163. There's not much that you can do there. I think, everyone, all the main guys on Barry's team kind of hit, and it's tough to match that. And maybe, Cobb seems a little bit out of sync. Kyler Murray hasn't been playing too well. Obviously, Dalvin Cook being out hasn't been too big of a factor for him because Madison's been plugged in and been carrying all that slack. And so it really hasn't been a drop off, but maybe the cohesion, the chemistry, because those are his two keepers, maybe the chemistry is a little bit off there. And so, hopefully, he's in a really tough hole right now playing against you this week against Fournette, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But, hopefully he can get back in the win column soon.
Anything you got to say about this loss?
No, I mean, it was just one of those weeks for Barry. So not much I can really do, especially when Kyler Murray gets me to 15 and my IDPs do nothing. So not much to say.
I didn't even realize that 11 between the three. Jesus.
I benched Khalil Mack, who ended up getting an 11.
Oh,
so yeah.
At least it wouldn't have mattered. At least you
right.
Yeah. Some say the whole Cobb and Dash show the day before prior really got into your team's head, and you guys you guys couldn't really produce after that, which, we're all here for you. Yeah. One thing I will say about Barry's team, I mentioned this on our group chat, was the Tyler Boyd start. I wouldn't have started him. I would have started Gaskin, and didn't matter because he ended up winning the game. But yeah, Also, scoring 145 with your quarterback getting a 15, I think you'll take that any day of the week. That's pretty solid. And to the quarterback thing we talked about, Alex, the when your quarterback gets outscored by the other one, even if you look at my game, I lost by 1 point in the quarterback category. I lost by 8. You give Mahomes another touchdown, I probably win that game because it'll probably be to one of the other guys. But last game, Cobb, take it away for us, buddy. It's probably, one of the guys who could be contending for Tomato King versus one guy who has a team that should be in the playoffs, and he's 1-4 right now. So talk to us about Paul versus Stewie.
Man, I feel bad talking about Paul's team, man. It's a talented squad, but he just keeps getting hit. I mean, him scoring almost 140 when he had Daniel Jones at quarterback, who got him less than a 5. Odell, he finally played his team namesake, got him a 3. Saquon got hurt on a free play, 0.9, and the guy's still dropping 140. Like that's crazy, and he ended up losing to Stu by less than 3. So it's just been, week after week of bad luck for Paul. And he's, we've been talking about it with that trade for Tony. He's hoping like something like that's going to turn his season around and get him some wins, because he needs to get those wins quick, or he's going to be one of the snubs of the playoffs. But on the other side, Stu, Herbert is looking like one of the best value pick for quarterback across fantasy. He's been tearing it up. That Cleveland Chargers game was amazing. They're just scoring touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. D-Hop finally showed up a little bit, got a nice score there. Mike Davis is doing Mike Davis stuff, getting him no more than an 8, but no less than an 8 pretty much every week. And that's, you're going to take that, especially with Stu's other options. But yeah, I mean, it's just like you see on the scoreboard just how good Paul's running backs are this year. And other than, Barkley getting hurt, but it's a dangerous team. It's not a team that you're rolling in, you're playing a 1-4 team. You're going to think, oh, this team sucks, but this team can blow up any week. It's just been very unfortunate start to the season for Paul. He just changed his name, and hopefully he can get back on track.
Yeah, and he was actually thinking about changing his team name again to my little Tony, my little Tony, and getting Kadarius Tony. So I thought that's cute. But paying homage to his past teams that actually have done better than 1-4. Yeah, and also bad luck too. I think he leads the league in points scored against him. So that's also you're never gonna win, no matter how good of a team you are. That you lead the league in that category. All right, so now we go to the preview for this coming week. We're gonna start off with our guy here, Alex's team. So Cobb, I'll take this one, I guess, and then you can go next. Yeah, so we're gonna start off here with make Hodge great again versus Big Barry Sales. We just talked about how great of a team Hodge has this year, and he's going up against the number 1 team in the league, which some people are saying is a pretender right now. I'm not saying that, but some people are. ZT is. So yeah, okay, so right off the bat we go Derek Carr, which I think you have a shot at winning this week. I think a lot of people are taking the Denver against the Raiders. I think it's going to be reverse. I think the Raiders are going to come back with some fire with all the shit that happened this week. I think they're going to take that distraction and use it in a positive way for them. So I think the Raiders win that game. I think Carr and Josh Jacobs blow up. I think Carr gets above a 21 was what I think. But yeah, it's going to be a good one. You got a lot of headline guys in this one. I will say it also kind of it's gonna go towards Hodge, just maybe Claypool and Renfro versus Jefferson and McLaurin. But I think Claypool could be solid with the Juju being done for the year. So I think Claypool's gonna tear it up, hopefully. Against Seattle's defense, he should. But then, yeah, let's just go one by one. I think Carl will have more than 21, but barely. So we'll give it to you, Alex. Cup, Lamb. I'm gonna go Cup. Lamb's not gonna do shit against New England. They'll take him out of the game. Cobb knows. Zeke, Aaron Jones. I'm gonna go Aaron Jones in that one. Waller, Andrews. Let's go Waller. James Robinson, Swift. Swift may not play, but we're gonna go with Robinson against Miami. Yeah. Claypool, Jefferson. I'm gonna go Jefferson. Renfro, McLaurin. McLaurin actually might not play. He didn't practice today, and usually if you don't practice on a Friday, that's not good. So McLaurin might not play. So let's say McLaurin doesn't play. I think you win that one. He's never anybody else that's better than that. So I'm going to go with you on that one. So let's go with Renfro. Renfro Saul 10. I think we'll get beat whatever the person who replaces McLaurin. So close one. I actually, honestly, I'm going to go because Brady didn't get his like 40 or 30. I think Alex has a shot. I think Alex wins this game. I was going, just by look at the matchup. I thought Hodge was going to win this one. I actually think you win. I'm going to say it's going to be a scrappy one. I'm going to go 127 to 121. I think it's going to be like a scrappy, low-scoring game. I think that's the only way you beat his team if his team does not show up. So, Cobb, what do you think?
No, I think it's a good call saying it's going to be a scrappy game. I'm not that sold on Oakland against Denver. I think that's going to be a really low-scoring game. I don't know what the implied point total is, but I think it's going to be under whatever the projection is. But still, I don't think 21 is that hard to hit for a quarterback. And I think Carr can do that. Renfro has been hella consistent. And I mean, Waller is obviously Waller, even though he hasn't been like the best lately. And Mark Andrews has been tearing it up. I think that'll balance out here this week. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a close game. If McLaurin doesn't, I'm going, my projection is going to be if McLaurin plays. And if McLaurin plays, I think Hodge is going to win this one. I just like his matchups with Swift. I think Swift has been questionable going into every single game he's played this year. Yeah. Jamal Williams is also questionable. And if he doesn't play, I mean, that's going to be nuts. I think they both play, but I really like Swift, but I like Robinson, but I'm still going to give Swift the edge there, just barely. I think they're both going to be easily RB1s this week. I think the biggest thing is how New England decides to play Dallas. We're good at shutting down a team's number one option, but is it going to be, are we going to focus in on Zeke or are we going to focus in on someone like CeeDee Lamb? I don't really know. After seeing Davis Mills tear us apart through the air, I feel like it's going to be a good CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper game this week. Maybe not so much Zeke unless they get after a huge lead early. But yeah, I think this is just going to be a scrappy game. I'm going to go a little higher scoring. I'm going to go 135 to 128 Hodge.
Okay. Alex, any feedback on our predictions?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking, before we're getting into all this, talking about my team and talking about the stretch where Derek Carr or where Russell Wilson and CH are out and how I want to go 2-2. This is one of the games when I was looking at it, I didn't have myself winning initially. So if I could squeak away with the win here, that's huge. And I have a shot really to go 3-1 in that stretch. And if I'm sitting at 7-2 with all those guys coming back, I mean, that's looking really good for me clinching a bye spot, which would be phenomenal for my team. So, for this matchup, let's just say Carr, I think he's going to get like maybe a 25 and you look at his kicker, got a 4. Let's say my kicker gets a 10. I like myself, based off the matchup between Brady and the kicker, a +10 advantage, after, what happened on Thursday night. And so does he have enough to make that up? I don't think so. I think, Cooper Kupp, I think is against the Giants is a much better matchup than CeeDee Lamb, New England. I like him there. Even if that's a wash, even if Aaron Jones and Zeke's a wash, even if the tight ends are a wash, I still have +10. I think that, you could even say that, James Robinson and Swift are a wash. Is Claypool and Renfro going to get outscored by Jefferson and McLaurin by +10? It's going to be very close. They could. But even then, you're going to give probably, Kupp 2 or 3 points there. You might give Zeke 2 or 3 points there. So it's interesting. It's definitely interesting to take a look at this matchup. I think it's going to be close. I don't think he blows me out this week. I'm never going to root against my team. I got myself in a scrappy win. But yeah, it'll be definitely very interesting. And, talking about New England, I know Skip Bayless always says this, that Dak Prescott is 20-0 in games where they have ran the ball more than they've passed it. And so I think, the Cowboys have kind of found their winning formula. So hopefully, it's a heavy run attack from Zeke. And, hopefully that he's kind of the guy that week, not CeeDee Lamb. And if that's the case, I think I have a win. So we'll see.
All right. And honestly, it's going to just come down to the 425 game. It's that the triple stack's going to be your demise, or it can be that would catapult you to a victory. That's what I'll be watching. And I actually bet on the Raiders this week. So, I hope it does work out for you guys. All right. So Cobb, talk to us about our second place player in CP here versus ZT's fantasy team. Are we putting him on upset alert?
Yeah. I mean, I think I think he's on upset alert, but we talked about how, every team he goes against CP plays great fantasy defense. I don't know what it is. Mike Evans already starting the week with under a 4. That's not great for ZT. And we also have like the news about Gibson. He's questionable. I think it was something with his shin or something that he's been playing through, and people have been a little worried about that. And it's going to come down to Stafford versus Lamar. I really, really like Stafford against the Giants this week, obviously. But I also think that the Chargers-Ravens game is going to be really high scoring. So I'm going to give Lamar the edge there.
Yeah.
I think Brandon Cooks, he's going to do better than a 4, I think. So I'll just give it to him there. But I think Indy just had like 2 of their starting corners just returned from injury and started practicing this week. So that defense should be a little better going forward. Henderson versus Gibson. I think they're going to be using McKissick a lot in this KC game. And I think Henderson is one of the most underrated backs in the league, at least fantasy wise. I think he's going to produce, but I'm going to give Henderson the edge there actually, over Gibson, but barely. That's a little, just kind of giving Henderson the benefit of the doubt, I guess. And then Gibson, then leaning on McKissick in the Washington KC game. But then you get down to the flexes, and I like ZT's flexes more. Jamar Chase versus Hollywood Brown. You could maybe call that a wash, honestly, with how both have been playing. I think I'm going to give Jamar Chase the slight edge here, even though his not counting the Cleveland game, I think Chargers have been pretty tough to pass on. Obviously, that completely changed last week. But I'm going to give Jamar Chase there, and then Deontay Johnson over Emmanuel Sanders, even though Emmanuel Sanders has been playing well. Sutton versus Gordon. I'm going to give it to Sutton just because Gordon's he's hurt. He's supposed to play. But then I'm a big Sutton fan, even though he's going to have Casey Hayward probably shadowing him, which is going to be a tough matchup. But I think this is where we see CP lose. I think it could be scrappy, even though ZT had a 4 for Mike Evans. I'm going to give ZT the win. I'm going to go 132 to 121.
Alex, what do you got?
Yeah, I won't talk too long about this one. I think ZT pulls it off, although, I very easily could see CP winning this game. Again, a really close, scrappy game. I think that, it's going to come down to probably that quarterback matchup here, on those very close games. It tends to, like we've talked about, whoever wins that quarterback matchup. So, it'll be close. It's a coin flip game. I do have ZT overcoming the 3 from Mike Evans and winning. I'm going to go 124 to 119.
Yeah, I think ZT wins. I'm going to have to go with that. I think ZT wins. I think CP just gotten away with too many teams scoring so little. I honestly am not a big fan of his team. I know Stafford looked like MVP the first game or two, but he hasn't really looked like that since. So that's kind of what I thought was going to catapult him to more victories and scoring more points, but it's not really scoring that much. He won on a 127 last week. I don't like his team at all. I like ZT's team. So we're going to go ZT wins this game big, actually, 148 to 112. I want to see a game where CP scores what he should be getting, which isn't that far off from what he's winning with. So I think ZT will win this game big time. And these are 2 founding fathers of the Basement League playing this week. I think people are forgetting that we haven't seen a game between ZT and CP play each other where it actually mattered in a really long time. So this game matters, and they both really want this one. All right, so the next matchup is we're gonna let Alex take this one. Alex, we got Dash versus Cobb. We got the Cobb and Dash show, the rematch of the championship game. It's not what it usually is for 1 versus 2. It's 3 versus 6. Talk to us about this one.
Yeah, and this was, obviously we know last week with the Cobb and Dash show drama, there's a lot of stakes going into this game. I'll be honest, there's a lot of leaked information that happened this week. There's some league insiders. I signed an NDA. I can't disclose, which insider leaked me some information, but there's rumors that Cobb is actually going to a haunted house tomorrow night. It's fall, Halloween's coming up. He's looking for a little thrill. He wants to get scared. If he's someone that's looking to get scared, he should be looking at this matchup right now. Leonard Fournette dropping a 30 on Thursday night. That's one of the weakest players on his team. That you would look at on this matchup. Him and all of his flexes are kind of even. Him dropping a 30 with Dalvin Cook coming back. Might be on a pitch count potentially. We don't know. That's something that he's coming off, I think, 2 straight losses. Going to 3-3, dropping to 3-3 is, especially with the fashion that it would be happening with multiple 3 straight losses, or 2, 3 straight. I need to double check that. It's a situation. Yeah, so it's a situation he does not want to be in at all. And so this is a game that Cobb needs to win. And so can he overcome that monster game from Fournette? I don't think so. I only say that because I was looking at this matchup before last night and I had it pretty much dead even. And I even had it maybe slightly favoring Dash, but just so even. I just don't think that he's going to be able to overcome that, especially, I've been saying it for 2 weeks. I know the Chiefs haven't been playing great, but I keep saying, they're going to bounce back. They're going to bounce back. The Washington defense does not look good. And so this should really be a game that they light him up. And so I just think between that he's going to be scoring at least 160 this week. I think he's going to blow up. And so I like some of your matchups this week. I do think you put up points, but I think it's another week, unfortunately, like last week with Barry, where you're going to probably put up, 140 plus, but still, unfortunately, not win this game. That's kind of my takeaway.
Cobb.
You go ahead first.
So I honestly, before last night, I was confident, I guess, but I wasn't that confident. Kind of what Alex said, one of the worst players in my starting lineup was Fournette. Of course, the guy gets me like a 10 every week. Getting a 30, I was happy when he had like a 17 last. I was like, yep, that's fine. I'm done. Like, I don't give a shit if he doesn't anymore. And he ended up getting 12 more points. So for me, I think that kind of is going to show you where this game is going to go. I do think we're going to see offensive firepower between Murray and going against the Browns and Mahomes going against the Redskins. I think that'll be 2 high scoring guys, but I think overall, being able to overcome Fournette getting a 30, that's kind of hard to do. I will say though, the last time I rolled out a triple stack was in the championship with Le'Veon Bell. I'm rolling out a triple stack or quad stack. Last time I rolled out a quad stack, I lost in the championship with Le'Veon Bell against the Falcons. I think he got like a 6 that game. I think Darrell Williams will get more than 6. And I think this game is going to show everybody, proof to the entire league, entire fantasy football world, that quad stacks can win championships and beat reigning champions. So I'm going to win this game 195 to 162. I think it's going to be a high scoring game, but I think I score in the 190s this week. Cobb.
Yeah. I think this is very reminiscent of when we played each other in the championship. The Chiefs, were they going against Atlanta?
Falcons, yeah.
In a championship, and I thought that was going to be a smash spot for the Chiefs. I was really worried with that. And I've got to hope that same thing happens this week against Washington. I mean, they've been terrible, but I'm not feeling that confident, especially after Fournette got the 30. That stack is going to be out with something to prove. I think D. Williams just came out saying like he wants to prove that he's a lead back. He's got a chip on his shoulder. Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey, they want to win after losing last week. I think this could be a very big statement game for them, not just in real life, but also in fantasy. I beat them in championship, so they want a little bit of revenge against my team, which I can't blame them. But I think our matchups across the board are pretty good. I am a little worried about the Cleveland game, mainly because I think it's supposed to be pretty windy. And I think the starting center for the Cardinals he's not going to play. And they have a really athletic D-line, and they could just terrorize Murray. But I need Murray to drop like a 50 here. He's been underperforming. He's been leaving so many points on the table every week. It's been killing me seeing James Conner get 5 touchdowns in 2 or 3 weeks when those could have been points going to Kyler. They were in the past. They haven't been yet. So I need Kyler Murray to blow up. I need Mahomes, Hill, and Kelsey to just have a okay game. Maybe get some Mecole Hardman touchdowns going. I'm still going to stick with my guys. I'm going to hope that they blow up. I can't say I'm going to pick Dash. I got to pick my guys. I wouldn't be able to show my face in the locker room if I chose Dash. So I need my team to turn up. I'm calling on them to turn up with Kamara out. I'm going to go 165 to 162.
Damn. I mean, if I lose that way, I'll be very upset, but I like the firepower.
Well, I will say I don't think any of us want to be in that gross 3-3 spot, especially with all those good teams in the middle of the pack. But we both, looking forward, we'll talk about it on next week's show. I think both of us have a pretty nice week coming up for us. Me against Stu with a lot of his buys, and then you against Ruben with a lot of his buys. So
yeah,
loser's going to be down, but there's still some optimism to come out of it.
Yeah, you don't want to be 3-3 going into. I mean, I want to say I want to say must win, but not really. Though it's not must win because we have good teams. But being in the 3-3 right now, but where that could possibly take you is scary. All right, well, let's try to get faster. We have 11 minutes before I have to get out of here. Okay, so I got Ruben, Barry. I think this, if it wasn't for me and a Cobb's game and the history behind that, I would say this would be the game of the week. But I think this is the second game of the week, I would say. Although Alex's game, there's a lot of pretty good games this week, actually. But this is a good game. We're going to go with this one. Look at Rodgers' history against the Bears. He actually doesn't score that much against the Bears, just historically. If you look at his numbers, his average, I think his average is like 18. They're talking about on Get Up this morning. Barry's team is not, if you look at his flexes, DJ Moore, Gaskin, and Boyd. Boyd's like a number 4 receiver with Higgins healthy and Chase there, and Uzmoa. They like that guy too. And then you got Gaskin, who looked good for the first time last week. And I don't know if that was a fluke, just getting dominated. They threw him in there. I don't know. But I think top to bottom, Ruben has a better team. I don't like Zach Moss, but I'll still take Zach Moss over Gaskin and Boyd. So yeah, I think Ruben wins big time. I'm going to take Ruben 144, Barry 130 for 2 touchdowns. Either one of you?
Yeah. Yeah, I actually have Barry winning this matchup. I think that if you look across the board, that all the matchups are pretty even. I think the only discrepancy is at the RB1. I think that between Eckler and Alex Collins, I think that Eckler dominates that matchup there. And I think for that reason that Barry wins. You know, his stack's hot. He's going to ride that stack. I think that stack is hotter than the Buffalo stack, especially going up against that Tennessee defense. I think pretty much everything washes each other out. I think that the RB is a win. Eckler is a win for Barry, and I think that it'll be a very close game, gritty game, maybe high scoring. But yeah, I like Barry coming away, moving to 4-2.
Yeah, I like Barry here too. I think Allen and Diggs get something going this week because Tennessee's pass defense has been the worst in the league. I think what Alex said, Eckler versus Collins, I think Collins isn't going to do much against that Pittsburgh defense. And I also don't think Metcalf's going to do anything. I think Mike Williams, there's a good chance he misses this week. I think he's had some swelling in his knee, so that's something to monitor. And if he's out, I think it easily goes to Barry. So I'll give Barry a 142 to 126 win here.
Jesus. Wow. All right. I guess I'm a lone duck there. Okay, so we're going to go to the next one. Pretty irrelevant game. Stu versus Roden. Alex, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, taking a look at this matchup here, Burrow versus Herbert, you probably have to take Herbert right now, especially he's just been red hot. People are saying that he's in the top 3 right now for the MVP conversation. So I think that he continues the streak that he's been on right now. And I think that Hopkins definitely is going to get above a 7. He definitely should. I think Kareem Hunt, obviously we know right now Nick Chubb just got ruled out. So I think he's going to have an amazing game. I think McKissick is kind of hit or miss, but he doesn't really have not even remotely near the same ceiling that Kareem Hunt does. So I think Kareem Hunt blows him out there. Tight end's pretty even. Lockett with Russell Wilson out takes away that deep threat opportunity. And then Keenan Allen definitely, takes the win on that matchup right there. Thielen's not getting a 21. And then Julio coming back from injury versus Chase Edmonds looking for a bounce back week. I'll call that a wash. I want to lean maybe even Edmonds' favor there. I think this is going to be close. This is really interesting. I do think between Antonio Brown and that matchup and Kareem Hunt, that as long as Burrow puts up a safe floor and if Herbert doesn't blow up again, I think that I have Roden winning 2 games in a row and going to 2-4. Toss up game, but I just think it's kind of a weird matchup, but I like him winning.
Cobb.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty close game. I mean, obviously Antonio Brown going off last night wasn't good for Stu. But I think Stu, I'm going to give Stu the edge here. Just barely, because I said earlier, I think it's going to be a pretty good McKissick game. I don't think he's going to do better than Hunt, but I think he's going to do enough you won't be disappointed about the point differential. Like, it's not going to be like a 25-5 thing. I think it'll be more like a 20 for Hunt and like a 14 for McKissick, something like that. And especially if Mike Williams doesn't play, I mean, Keenan Allen should just get peppered with targets, even though, I mean, maybe Baltimore focuses on him. I will say, I mean, this might not be a relevant game, but I think this could be a game against 2 potential trade partners. I think Stu needs to ship out Jalen Hurts. I mean, I think Jalen Hurts is a fucking bum, but he got a 27 last night with an absolutely terrible game. And if I'm someone who needs a quarterback, I'm coming to Stu. And I don't really know what Roden would give him, but Stu needs depth. I think he needs to ship off one of those quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'll take Roden here. I think just look at their tight ends, the Jared Cook versus Molly Cox. I think it's kind of funny. Just like, I think seeing their tight end situation kind of shows you where they are in the rankings right now. But if Roden gets a quarterback, Roden gets like a little hot winning streak, I think Roden can be back into where he normally is in the 8-1 range. So yeah, I think Roden wins pretty easily. JD McKissick, I mean, even if Gibson's out, McKissick's not going to be a bell cow. He's not going to get a lot of carries. He'll get a lot of check downs, but he won't be the guy getting handoffs, getting carries. But yeah, overall, I like his team. I think Kareem Hunt will have a blow up game. And I think with Antonio Brown again at 21, I think it really doesn't even matter at that point because there's nobody on this team outside of Herbert. I mean, I don't know. The stack is there, but I'll take Roden big time. We're gonna go 140 to 124. Roden. All right. Next up, we got the last matchup of the week. Now this has indications, different kind of indications. Well, kind of like the last game actually. Both Tomato King indications here or implications. Cobb, what do you got on this one?
I have Paul. I don't think Adam's team is all that good. I mean, you're starting Sammy Watkins and Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's been okay, but like I just think Paul's team is too good to be 1-4. I think his running backs, even without Barkley, should carry him to a pretty sizable victory here. I don't know if Dak is gonna do too much. Obviously Tannehill is not the best. We'll see if Paul's trade shows up and Tony actually does something. I don't think Tony really needs to have a big game for Paul to win this. But yeah, I don't know. Not much else to say. I think Paul's team is just top to bottom better than Adam's. I think Adam just keeps falling, and I think Paul rights the ship a little bit here this week. I'll give it 146 to 113. I think it's going to be a pretty sizable victory for Paul here.
Alex.
Yeah, I like Paul bouncing back here. Giving up that 4 for Tony. You have to remember he has Derrick Henry at like a 2, Saquon at a 1. So if he decides to keep those guys, he's losing out on a lot of picks, for next year. So he needs to compete this year. He's a team, if he makes the playoffs, it's a really good roster that anything can happen. He absolutely can win it all. But, the hill to climb to get there is a lot. So this is absolutely a must win. His season's done, I think, if he loses this game. And also it hurts him next year for even building up an amazing roster next year, just with, having to give up that pick already. And so this is a must win game, I think, with having Saquon out and then obviously having Chubb out. It's something that, it doesn't favor him well. But luckily, he's got Booker and he's got Hubbard there, with CMC out. And so he's able to fill in 2 guys there that I think are going to, take on a good role and are going to, definitely, produce the way they need to. So I got them winning, by a good margin here. I'm going to give a 25-point win for Paul. I just think that Adam's team is something that I don't think scares any team right now. So
yeah, these are two polar opposite teams. Last week on the show, I don't know if you heard this one, Cobb, but I made a bet with the league that Adam wouldn't win a game for the rest of the season. So he'll stay at 2 wins the rest of the season. No one's taken me up on it yet, but I think that's because a lot of people agree with me that he's not going to get another win because Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sammy Watkins in the same lineup. Last week he started that the dude from Atlanta, Zacharias. Well, I can't even pronounce his name. Zacharias, whatever his name is. Whatever. I mean, the fact that I don't even know the guy's name, he's starting the guy got a 3 for him. Awful. We'll say this though. I think like what you said, Paul or Alex, that this is a must-win game for Paul. But I think I'm starting to get it now. He made that trade last week. He's going to keep, if he's the bottom feeder, so he might be the number one pick. I think he's banking on possibly being the number 1 pick. I think he hopes he wins, but if he's not, then he'll keep Tony, but he'll let Barkley or whoever, one of his big dogs, go back and he'll end up drafting one of his big dogs in the first round with the number 1 overall pick. So that's what he probably will do. I mean, if he loses a game like this, you may as well, close up the book for the rest of the year. Don't make any more moves. Just, play all for next year. Don't want to get anyone hurt. Sit guys out if you must. But yeah, I think Paul will win this game pretty handily. Is the worst team in the league. Like I said, Adam will not win another game this year. Yeah, I'm marking that down. So let's go to Adam 1. Let's give Adam 109. Let's give Paul 138. Yeah, I like that. And Paul's team, he's got his 3-headed monster. Then he's got a bunch of freaking handcuffs. It's like literally his team's handcuffs and monsters. Last segment before we go, we're running out of time here. We have the Tomato King rankings, Tomato Watch. So roll the tape.
I don't like tomatoes and I don't think they like me. I wouldn't say I hate them and they're not my enemy. We do our best to coexist by staying far apart. I don't like tomatoes, they always make me far too unhappy.
We're going to go, it's going to be kind of, last week I had Cobb in the tomato rankings, but for some reason, I don't know, he scored 145 with his quarterback getting a 15. He's back in the top 6. So Cobb, you're welcome. Because there's a real thing. I think Alex looked it up, or he needs to look it up. Is being in the tomato rankings. If you're number 7, I think whenever you're number 7, I think there's a high possibility of you losing that week. You're ranked number 7, so that's we have to look it up, and I'm pretty sure that's the case. But anyway, number 7 ranking for me, I have Ruben at number 7. I think his team is really good, but I think ZT's team is better, and that's why ZT's got the 6th spot over Ruben. But I like Ruben's team. I think he'll win this week, and I think things will start to happen for the guy, and he'll get back into the top 6. But right now, I have him at 7. Number 8 for me, kind of a toss-up here, is the guy who's number 2 right now, CP. I think, like I said earlier, teams aren't scoring anything against him. He's not really scoring that much. His team is not that good. I get he doesn't have McCaffrey. When McCaffrey comes back, his team might be 8 to 10 points better. So he's gonna be scoring 137s now. Oh, great. That's really scary. I'm scared of 137. I'm just not high on his team. 4-1. But I'm a big fan of the word. He's a pretender. 4-1. That doesn't mean anything to me. Bad team. I just don't think it's a good team. But if he wins, kudos to him. Number 9 for me, I got Roden. Roden just beat me. I've loved his team all year. He's a trade away from getting back into the swing of things. And I think he's going to win this week. He's going to be back on a roll. Roden could be his stock's going up, folks. If you wanted to buy a stock, you should have bought it last week because it's freaking soaring right now. Number 10 for me is Paul. We've said on the show, I'm scared of his team. I hope he continues to lose because I don't want his team getting near the playoffs. Great team, great backs. Quarterback situation is kind of icky. He has to start Tannehill this week against Buffalo of all teams. Tannehill has not looked good, and now he's playing against one of the best one of the best defenses in the league. Scary, but I like Paul's team, but I don't think it's the year for him. I think sometimes you're snake bitten, and I think this is the year he's snake bitten. Not looking good with Chubb's injury, Barkley's injury. So I like him at 10. Could be worse than that, or could be higher than that next week, but we'll see. 11 for me is Stu. He's starting JD McKissick. I don't know if it's more of a joke, but he's starting JD McKissick. He's got Mike Davis when JD McKissick is not there. It's just like guys who are getting like 9s or 10s who really shouldn't be getting 9s or 10s, but they barely cracked that 9 or they barely cracked that 10. That's what his teams come to, getting guys who barely crack like a 9 or 10. I love the guy. I'm glad he's actually he's making a lot of moves this year. He's third in the league in moves this year. I love what he's doing. He's more active than he has been in the past years. He cares, but he's not winning. I just think that's where he's the 11th spot. And of course, to no one's surprise, my tomato king for the last 3 weeks is A. Millie. I love the guy. Don't like his team at all, though. Like I said last week, I'm willing to bet anybody in the league $50, $25 that Adam will not win another game this season. I'll bet anybody in the league. Only one person. I'm not going to take 11 bets. Only one. But yeah, Adam's team is so bad. He's starting guys right now. He's got Sammy Watkins in his lineup. I wouldn't even put him in my lineup right now. He's not even going to play. He's out with a hammy injury. I would probably cut him by now. But yeah, it's not looking good for this guy. Dan Arnold is his starting tight end. Dude, what? Yeah, I didn't even see that one. That's really bad. Yeah, this team's shitty. And this, it's what he's wasting. Yeah. And that's the thing. He's wasting Najee Harris this year, a rookie season. He could be on a team that's going to go to the playoffs. Najee Harris, just like that. First year in the league, not even making the playoffs. It's kind of sad. The fact he has 2 wins is beyond me, but yeah, I think he'll stay at 2 for the rest of the season. And yeah, Adam's tomato king for the third straight week. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think your ranking's pretty spot on. I think I had Ruben above ZT. I think the stack after their bye week next week is really going to start getting it together. But other than that, pretty spot on. I had CP down at I think 9.
Wow.
Yeah, just because I didn't think that again, he's winning. He's like the polar opposite of Paul right now. I think Paul has the better team. It's just when you compare the points against, Paul has 140 more points scored against him than CP. That's crazy. And then on the other hand, he has over 80 points more points for CP. So that just, that speaks volumes. He's almost at 700 points. Only only 3 other teams are that close. Paul, just unfortunate, but I have him higher than CP in my rankings. But other than that, I think spot on. Adam's also my tomato king. Sammy Watkins, Amon-Ra St. Brown starting. Dan Arnold, that's a mess. If I'm Adam, I'm trading Najee Harris, get some keepers or something. People are going to pay some premium shit for that, especially if they're trying to make a push. I don't know. It's just a lost season.
Yeah. Alex?
Yeah, I'll wrap it up really quickly. Right now, I got Ruben at 7. 8. This is a wild card. I got Paul up at 8. I think I like the Tony move. I think he will win this week. And luckily for him, you see a lot of all the teams. He's only 1 game behind the 7th place team, and so that's lucky enough for him. And I think out of that mess, kind of 7 through 12 right now. Obviously, we know he's got the best roster. He's 1 game away from being where they are. And so I got him at 8. I got ZT at 9. 10, I actually have Roden. The 2 bottom teams right now, I have them a little higher up there. 11, I have Stu, and then Tomato King. I think kind of unanimous here. We have Adam at Tomato King.
Yeah, it's by far the worst team. It's one of the worst teams I've seen in this league in a really long time. And I'm not just trying to say to make jokes. It's a really bad team.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's really not even injuries though. Is it bad drafting? Are we seeing the end of Adam? I don't know. Are you willing to take me on that bet? $25. Adam will not win a game for the rest of the season. Cobb?
Sure, I'll take it.
All right.
He wins 1 game, I get $25. Fine.
That's it. That's all it takes.
Whatever.
All right. So everybody, good luck. This is a big week. You can either be 4-2, you can be 3-3, you can be 2-4. It's a big week for a lot of teams. So I wish everyone luck. And yeah, we'll see you next week on the Cobb and Dash Show. Take it easy, everybody.